You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned. Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to the Learn Live channel and to today's Meet the Series broadcast. Each week we'll be meeting the incredible team from construction and infrastructure. Today we'll be meeting with Joel O'Connor, a lead trainee supervisor from Hanson UK. Hanson UK are a leading supplier of heavy building materials to the construction industry and are a part of one of the leading building materials manufacturers in the world. Also the global market leader in aggregates, which also has leading positions in cement, concrete and other downstream activities. If you have any questions from Joel or the Hanson team, then please leave them in the live chat, which is situated next to the video player. Once you've left your questions, one of the panel members will get back to you as soon as possible. And if you're wanting to find out more about up-to-date events, then you can click the subscribe button to keep in touch. Now, let's meet Joel.
Hello everyone and welcome to this special event. So today I have been joined by Joel from Hanson. So hi Joel, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Hi, my name's Joel, I'm 21 years old and I'm currently in my second year of the Hanson Lead Apprenticeship Programme. I am based at Watley Quarry, which is one of Hanson's largest quarries in the UK, producing around 6 million tonnes of aggregate each year. My current role can vary from day to day, however I've spent predominantly most of my time within the technical department of the company, whether that's been as a technician or an assistant technical manager. And my main role has been to ensure that all the products coming out of the quarry are to the highest standard possible and that we do everything right first time.
Perfect, that's brilliant. So could you tell us a little bit more about what Hanson does as a company?
Hanson specialise in the production of aggregate, concrete, asphalt and cement, with over 300 manufacturing sites all across the UK and employing 3,500 people. We produce aggregates, ready-mix concrete, asphalt, cement, and we're part of the Heidelberg Cement Group, which has leading global positions in aggregates, cement and concrete.
Brilliant, that sounds really cool. So going back to yourself, what route did you take after you completed school and why did you decide to go down that route?
After taking my A-levels, I was really sort of unsure on which route I wanted to take. I felt I was so focused on just achieving my A-levels that I hadn't actually thought about what my next steps might be. And I had multiple opportunities and offers from universities. However, none of them seemed quite right for me at the time. So I ended up taking a year out to have a think about what I wanted to do and the next steps. And then I ended up seeing this one online and went and applied for it.
Brilliant, that sounds great. So when you were back at school, what was it that you wanted to do? I know you said that you weren't sure on what path to take after A-levels, but was there anything or any sector that you were particularly thinking about?
So at school I was really interested in sciences and maths, so that is the sort of area I was looking to go into. I'd been to various open days of universities and none of the courses really did line up with what I was looking for, and nothing that I was incredibly passionate about and wanted to take a step forward. But when this lead apprenticeship came up, it really had the core STEM values that I was looking for in science and maths, and had both opportunities to do these both for the apprenticeship. As well as living in Frome where I do, I'd had countless people, family and friends come up to me and tell me that Hanson was such a great company to work for. So both these together, really, the fact that it had the STEM part of it, and that I had so many people come to me and say it was a great company, that's what sort of drove me in this direction.
How would you say that you balance work and study while doing your apprenticeship?
As you're working full time, and you're doing your university qualifications at the same time, it can be quite challenging to balance your time. But you really do develop over the apprenticeship great time management skills and how to use your time to the best of your ability. And your managers really want you to succeed. So if you're having trouble with an assignment or you need extra time, they're there to give it to you. And you can always find days or time in the day where you might not be as busy as usual, and you can take yourself away and just do an assignment. And you've got so many people around you all the time that've got such a great, vast wealth of knowledge that you can tap into, and they're always there to help you with your assignment. So it's never too much trouble. I personally don't find balancing work and study too hard. If you do have an assignment due, you might stay behind a couple hours just to get it done. But that's just the way of the apprenticeship.
Brilliant, that sounds cool. So obviously you mentioned there that your managers want you to succeed and will help you out with things. But what would you say are the other benefits of doing an apprenticeship?
I feel like during the apprenticeship you really mature and develop the whole time. You're constantly interacting with people from all sort of ways of life, everyone's sort of different ages. You're not just interacting with people your same age like you would be at university. And everyone, you do work with has so much experience and knowledge that they can pass on to you that you might not find just from reading textbooks and doing exams. There's so many problems that come up during the day, during production, that just can't be learned without having the experience. So working with so many people that have been here for years and seen all sides of the working life can give you so much more experience while on an apprenticeship.
Brilliant, that sounds great. So what would you say out of your whole apprenticeship experience so far has been the most memorable?
For me personally, it'd probably have to be my end of year presentation to the managing directors of the company. This was just because it was so far out of my comfort zone and something I wouldn't normally want to do. But it gave me a really good chance to sort of reflect on what I had done over the previous year. Looked at all the projects I've been involved in or run. And it was a really good way to sort of reflect and look back and see what I'd achieved and present it in a way to sort of show them how well I've done in a way. But I'd also say another really good memorable experience would have to be a 3-night stay up in Leicester for a training course we went on. This was just really great experience, away from home for a while, and all the apprentices all meet up and we all stay in the sort of same hotel. We just have a really great time in the evenings, going out for meals and just being social with each other, really.
Brilliant, that's great. So obviously those two experiences helped you also give out a positive signal as to the type of person that you are, especially with the presentation that you had to do, and then also with the guys that you're working with, so you get to build that bond even more.
Yeah.
Brilliant, that's perfect. So looking at all of the stuff that you've achieved so far, what would you say are your ambitions for your career in the future from what you're learning from your apprenticeship?
So I'd definitely say at the moment I'm still keeping my options open and trying to find sort of where I suit the company and the business. That is another big advantage, is that you are given the opportunity to find so many different sort of avenues within the business and find what suits you and what you enjoy the most. So at the moment my options are sort of open. Currently I'm down in the production and operations office, so I'm sort of seeing a different side to the operations and gaining loads of knowledge on there, and it's definitely something I would consider going for jobs in. But I've also recently been quite interested in the commercial side of the business, so sales and haulage and stuff. So over the next few months, I think I'm going to take it into my own hands and start to contact all my sort of local sales people and commercial people and see if they can give me any knowledge and advice and skills that I can take forward to progress in this part of the company.
So, speaking of advice and leading on to, unfortunately, the final question, what advice would you give to anyone who might be looking into an apprenticeship and maybe even someone that's looking into one at Hanson?
I just say, if I had to give anyone advice, I'd just say university is not for everyone. I think there's so much opportunity that apprenticeships can offer that's sort of overlooked. A lot of people just follow the straight path, go straight from A levels into university without even checking what apprenticeships are available. And I think there is a bit of a stigma that as the apprentice, you're going to be making teas and coffees. And it's not to say that that doesn't happen, but there's also so much responsibility you get given. There's so many projects you get put on, and you have a great or a huge impact on the company. And you're not just a low apprentice. So I'd say if you're definitely looking to go for one, I'd just say get involved as much as possible, really. Especially with Hanson, they will give you the opportunity. And if you want to gain the most out of your apprenticeship, you have to just get involved, ask questions, because everyone you're surrounded by is there to help you, basically. So yeah, I just say get involved, do as much as you can, really.
Brilliant, that's such great advice. So thank you for that, Joel. But unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today. So anyone out there watching right now that wants to ask Joel or anyone from Hanson a question, then please leave them in the live chat facility that's just on the right-hand side of your screen, and they'll get back to you as soon as possible. However, for now, it's goodbye from me to you, Joel, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and we see you again soon on the Learn Live channel.
So, that concludes today's session. Thank you to Joel for telling us all about your experiences with the Hanson business. Thank you also to you guys for watching today and taking the time to attend the event. Remember, if you have any questions for Joel or the team at Hanson, make sure you put them in the live chat and one of the team will get back to you as soon as possible. If you also missed Joel or would like to look back on any of the content from today, then please look below the video player where there is the on-demand section. They're available to you, your family and friends 24/7, so please look to your leisure. That's all from the Meet the series today. Join us this time next week as we will be meeting more incredible teams from within the construction and infrastructure sectors. Until then, stay safe and stay connected.
Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned. Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.
What are you looking for in any future employee?
I think foremost enthusiasm. I think what we're looking for is creativity. So we're looking for something that's different. So be yourself. I think that's most important. Is don't try to conform to really be yourself. And there will be something in there, that spark that someone really wants for an employer. And I think if you are interested in something and you're enthusiastic for something, you can learn everything as you go along. You can be trained as you move along and forward into the world of work.
You probably see people applying all the time. What sort of things can they put down when they apply to either your apprenticeship programs or even to Bernardo's itself to make sure they're successful? What are you looking for example, in a CV?
I'm looking to find out about them. I'm looking to find out about what makes them a suitable candidate for the positions that we've got available. Time after time, I see covering letters that haven't been written for the position or CVs that haven't been specifically written for that position. And I know it's so easy to upload, click, send, and I've applied for that job. But I think it's taking the extra time to make sure that your covering letter really, really is focused on the position that's available. If it's within hair, what kind of interests have you had in the past? Do you do your friend's hair? If it's within construction, what part of construction really interests you? Really tailor it towards that position rather than it being a generic.
There's not much to do around here really, so we have to make our own fun, right? But last Saturday was crazy. Me and Rav, we go to pick up our friend Ashley. He's trying to call himself Ash now, but I've called him Ashley forever. I'm not changing that just because he's trying to ditch his old image. There were these tracks down our friend Grace's that we always used to jump over to get into the town quicker. Never see any trains coming past. But we found out Ash had never been there before, so we headed that way. He's into Grace, big time. He was holding us up though, taking forever, chatting to her by the tracks. Me and Rav have already crossed, but now a train was actually coming. So let's just say I gave him some encouragement in front of her. I was telling him to step up, calling him Flash Ash, and he gives me a dirty look. So me and Rav start chanting, go, 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 and he went for it. I was just winding him up. I didn't think he was actually going to do it. That was the closest I've ever seen anyone to a train. Grace was not impressed. Don't think she's spoken to him since. Then we head into the town and get some chips. Standard. Ate mine. Ate Ashley's too. Said he lost his appetite. He still looked pretty grey from the train. Then we go back to Rav's. It's places where we always go back to since forever, you know? Big TV, big house, big couch. His mum's chill. We get onto the console till late. But Ashley's talking all tough now, thinking he's all that. So I destroyed it. Then Ralph's mum kicks us out for being too loud. So, I head home. I can't get over that train jump though. That was mad. Proper dangerous, but no harm done. Right?
Hi, my name's Michelle and I'm an occupational therapist, and I work in the role of the clinical lead occupational therapist here at East Surrey Hospital. I've worked at East Surrey for the last 18 months and prior to starting in my current role, I worked as the team lead for the medical team of OTs and physios at East Surrey Hospital. So how did I get to become in my role? Well, I went to university. I went to Brighton University to study occupational therapy as a Bachelor of Science degree. Did a part-time course, which was over 4 years, which was 2 days a week. So that was part of my training. And then once I qualified as an occupational therapist after my degree, I've done lots of training in my OT roles that I've done. So I worked at Chichester Hospital when I first qualified, and as a band 5, and learned lots of things about moving and handling of patients, access visits, taking them to their homes and getting them out of hospital. I then went and worked in Surrey County Council and did a lot more training around moving and handling of people in their own homes, issuing equipment, and we've received training all the way through. And then I switched back into inpatient hospital, where I've been given obviously all the mandatory training you require when you come to hospital, when you come and work in a hospital. And I have done lots of training around managing of people, managing teams, supervision of people, and communication and coaching skills, and that's led me to this current role that I'm in. So I was first attracted to occupational therapy when a member of my family was unfortunately very unwell. They'd had a stroke and they were in hospital. I spent a lot of time going visiting them and seeing what everybody was doing to help my member of my family. It made me think about what I was doing in my own life. I was currently working at the time I was working for an insurance company, and it wasn't very satisfying for myself. So I looked around at the different roles. I decided nursing wasn't really for me. Don't really like blood. That kind of counts that one out. And I watched The Occupational Therapist, and it was about we look at how people live their lives in their homes, and how when they've been poorly, we can help them to get back to living their lives as independently as possible. And that really struck a chord with me. I did more research and decided that was the direction I thought I wanted my career to go in. So went and visited a hospice, and I visited a mental health placement, and did lots of research around those two subjects in particular, and spoke to other occupational therapists. And that's how I came to being an occupational therapist, what attracted me to the role I'm currently in as the clinical lead was my work so far has just led me here. I love managing other people. I love making sure that my team is working well and that they are able to provide the patients with the best outcomes. And I feel that I'm in a good position to be able to do that in this role. So the qualifications that you need to become an occupational therapist are you need a degree in occupational therapy. Now, this can either be a Bachelor of Science degree or it can be studied at masters. So some of my colleagues, they have gone and done, for example, psychology as a bachelor's degree, an undergraduate degree, and they have then chosen to go through to become an occupational therapist, and they've done that at master's levels. So most universities offer a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. To be able to get onto those courses, you need your GCSEs. Of course, you need maths and English, as with most other degree subjects, that's the case. And you also need to have done A-levels or a combination of A-levels and BTECs, depending on the university that you choose to go to. They all have different levels as to what you need to achieve in your grades to get onto the course. Sometimes you need to have done a little bit of experience. So when I went to Brighton University, they required as part of the application process a written piece of work around occupational therapists, ensuring that I had gone and visited other places so that I really knew what the degree was that I was embarking upon, as it's a vocational degree. There is also now more opportunities for people to do it through the workplace. So we currently have one of our unqualified staff, and when I say unqualified, I just mean that they're not a qualified occupational therapist. They don't have their degree yet. They're very good at their job. That's not what I'm saying. She is going through the university, but doing it through work. So she's doing it through an apprenticeship scheme. So it's in affiliation with a local university, and she is currently working 3 days here and then attending university 2 days. That will be over a period of 4 years, and she will then have an occupational therapy Bachelor of Science degree. To get onto courses like that, often you need to have done an access course if you don't have the A-levels or you haven't studied recently, dependent on the university, of course. So my role can be quite challenging at times. Currently, having just, and continuing to work through COVID, that has been extremely challenging for me and the staff that I work with. Managing staff well-being and during a difficult period like it has been can be extremely challenging, as that's at the everyone's well-being sort of at the forefront of our minds. Working when we don't have the right systems or we have very clunky kind of systems to work through, and working in the public sector can be difficult. The budgets are not high. We're often having to think outside the box. In fact, we're always having to think outside the box, and that can bring some challenging situations. Not having the right computer to use, or having very limited resources. The other challenging situations we find are the complex patients that we work with, and making sure that we get things right for them so they can go home or to the best destination for them and continue living their lives as independently as possible. The benefits of being an occupational therapist that you gain a lot of skills along the way, and we have a few that are really essential. One of them is being a people person. You spend most of your time as an occupational therapist speaking with patients, clients, customers, in whatever aspect you work in, and you need to be able to communicate effectively with those patients. You need to be able to have really good listening skills to be able to listen and understand what their difficulties are. You need to be able to talk through lots of different situations with patients, and that is an extremely important skill. The same for me in my own role. I don't always see patients as the clinical lead. I do a lot of the management parts of the job, and I need all of those skills to work with all of the staff that are in the occupational therapy team and the wider multidisciplinary team, because we don't just work on our own, we work with everybody. So for me, communication is a really essential skill. Also in occupational therapy, being able to do some creative thinking. We don't always have the right things to be able to help people, so often we have to think outside the box. I've said that previously, but we need to be able to have those really good thinking skills, where we can look at a situation and see it differently. That's also an essential skill. And probably the third one is being able to look at things objectively. Not everybody lives life in the same way that you or I do, or indeed anybody else. We're all very, very different, and it's being able to look at how people live their lives and see how that may be different, and being able to put yourself in their shoes so that you can actually help them to live their life in the way that they want to and need to. So my advice to anyone who is looking to become an occupational therapist, or indeed any other allied health professions, is to really look into what you think you would like to do. So if you are thinking of becoming an occupational therapist, then talk to occupational therapists, look at different job roles on the internet. There's a plethora of different things on YouTube about occupational therapy, and it's a very wide career. We work with physical health, mental health, we work in the community, we work in the hospital. My job isn't the only occupational therapy job that there is. There's hundreds of millions of different ways of using occupational therapy. So if it would be to talk to people, do your research, if you're able to go and do a work placement, and just see what it is, really find what it is that sparks with you about occupational therapy, because it is a vocation, and as most allied health professions are, and it is a very rewarding, lengthy career, and so I think you need to make sure that that's where you're headed, with the way you in the direction that you think you are. So just do your research. But yeah, YouTube's full of stuff about everything, so have a look on there to see what it's like for a day in the life of an OT. So that's all my information I have about occupational therapy for you today. If you would like to ask any questions, or want to make any comments, please use the chat facility that's available. And if you ever need to find out about occupational therapy, there is the Royal College of Occupational Therapists, which is online, or you have HCPC, which is our registry that we belong to. Or find an occupational therapist and contact them. There's plenty around. Thank you.
My name's Aaron Soulsby, age 22, work as a student engineer for Sir Rob McAlpine.
And what does the Amy SRM do?
So Amy SRM on site, obviously it's two separate companies, which is a joint venture on site, which is the job I'm working on, which is the M6 Junction 19 roundabout. So the job itself is made out of like the highways and buildings and stuff like that, but the job that I'm on is the highways sector.
Great. And what do you do as part of your job?
Well, during my job as day-to-day, it's usually like setting out role. So it's like setting out for things, stuff like your drainage, concrete and works, obviously like steel, rebar. Usually you check the quality of the work. So you check with our lads on site, make sure they're doing everything the way they should be doing, measurements, stuff like that, height, and then recording the progress that the people are doing on site. So say if they get one job done, two jobs.
And what route did you take after you completed school and why?
So obviously throughout school, just done all the necessary stuff, math, science, everything like that. As soon as I finished year 11, so I'd originally applied for McAlpine as well as a few of our various companies. Also applied to go into sixth form, but took a while to hear back from McAlpine as well as other companies. So I had signed up for sixth form, and then a week before I got accepted into sixth form, was about to start, then heard back from McAlpine, says I've been given a place to start college within a couple of weeks. So I was all happy about that. Started with McAlpine, went straight into a BTEC level 3 in construction, and then started from there.
Ah, great. And what did you want to do at school or college?
Well, throughout school, like secondary school, it was mainly just like your maths, science, English, stuff like that. Sport, loved a bit of sport. But, then obviously when I would finish there, got on to my apprenticeship. You then jumped on to your level 3, which is your construction and built environment. After that, finished level 3, then moved on to the HNC, HND, which I'm now in university now.
Great. And how do you balance work and study?
Currently, I'm doing day release, so it's 1 day at university, and then 4 days on site.
How do you find that? Is it difficult, or what's your tips for maintaining it?
It's long days, put it that way. But yeah, I would say it is. Obviously, you've got everyone on site who can help you do a bit of work, which does sort of like, don't get us wrong, if you are falling like behind, work will just say, yeah, do it as much as you can, but obviously you've got to get the work done on site as well. But yeah, I would say it's a lot more beneficial than doing 5 days a week.
Great. And what are the benefits of doing an apprenticeship?
Well, personal experience, I would say, obviously you get the guidance from the company you're working with. Obviously they've put hundreds of people through apprenticeships, so they're not just sort of like, you're not really like the guinea pig sort of thing. Obviously you've got the guidance through them. Obviously you don't get any fees to pay for your college, your university, so you're debt free. Obviously any help you need, you can just go and ask anyone on site, like management, stuff like that. They'll give you help. Obviously they've probably already been through it as well.
Ah, great. And what has been the most memorable experience of your apprenticeship?
As well as the jobs that I've completed and been a part of, I would say passing my HND and being accepted onto my university course.
Great. And what are your ambitions for your career in the future?
Well, within the next 5 years, I definitely want to pass university, get the best grade I can, and then be part of like bigger scale jobs, like multi-million-pound jobs.
Amazing. And what advice would you give to anyone looking into an apprenticeship?
Start while you're young. As soon as you finish school, I would definitely look for different companies who's offering apprenticeships. Go in with your friends. They might help you through it as well if you're both going in through it together. Like I said, don't just do one company. Go through various. All might be within the same working area as you. Travelling distance. And don't expect to hear back from them within a couple of weeks. Obviously, it can take a couple of months maybe. So don't expect a reply straight away.
Great. Thanks so much.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tim. I'm 19 years old and I'm an environmental practitioner degree apprentice. My role as an environmental practitioner gives me the opportunity to rotate around various work teams within the Kent and South London area. Some of the teams I'll be joining include the Flood and Coastal Risk Management, Fisheries, Biodiversity and Geomorphology, and the Waste and Industry Regulation teams. Also, as part of my off-the-job training, I attend Kingston University to complete my environmental science degree. This includes participating in a range of seminars, lectures, with the occasional lab work. Currently, I'm taking 2 modules, one on physical geography and environmental hazards, and the second on research and fieldwork methods. This degree takes place over 5 years. I started this apprenticeship at the end of my gap year, which I took after completion of my A-levels. For my A-levels, I took geography, business and economics, all 3 of which I have found applicable in my current role. During my gap year, I was debating my next step. Further education was something I was interested in, but I thought pairing my education with on-the-job training was a better combination. It gives me the opportunity to apply the skills I learn as part of my degree to a job within the professional environment. My interest for the environment and how we interact with it was enhanced by my A-levels. Therefore, when it came to choosing my next step, working within the environmental sector was something I was contemplating. The wide range of rotations on offer for this apprenticeship is what caught my eye. This was partly due to the fact that the Environment Agency's work is so diverse. The Environment Agency is classed as a Category 1 responder, and I like the prospect that throughout my work I will be able to offer valuable support to members of the community. Also, as part of our work, the Environment Agency implement the regulations and the environmental standards which are set by the government. Working across multiple teams gives me a great opportunity to work within a variety of departments before I look to specialise in one going forward. Working for the Environment Agency has many benefits. The one that stands out to me is the fact that I'm working for an organisation who looks to better the place we live in. I personally don't think there is a better motivation than this. As well as having great aspirations, the Environment Agency also offers a great work-life balance. The availability of flexi-time gives me more freedom when choosing the best work pattern to suit my needs. Furthermore, working for the Environment Agency is life-enhancing. This is demonstrated by the great training platform we have at our disposal. On the platform, there are a wide range of sessions which I have the ability to work my way through at my own pace. By doing so, it really allows me to choose the path my career takes. Also, as part of a team of 3 other apprentices who are all assigned a mentor each, it has built up a great support network, which includes a wealth of knowledge to help me through my degree. In terms of my rotation so far, we've been given the opportunity to join a number of project teams. I personally chose to join a team who look to enhance the Environment Agency's equality, diversity and inclusion. In terms of joining departments, this is something that is to happen in the near future. I look forward to being able to put what I've learned from my degree and my department rotations into hopefully securing a role permanently in the Environment Agency in the future. Lastly, I would just like to say that from my experience so far, the Environment Agency is a great place to work. I'm surrounded by equally driven and passionate people, all striving towards the same goal, which is to create a better place for people and the wildlife. Thank you for listening.
Physio isn't just standing on the side of a pitch at football. We work really closely with doctors and the nurses, the occupational therapists, psychologists, speech and language therapists. Every single day is different. If someone has a chest infection and they're on the intensive care unit, the physios help towards getting them better. They help keeping their lungs inflated. They help clearing out that chest infection. I could see myself go into lecturing. You can go into health practice and management. You can go into more discharging roles. There's lots of space for expansion and movement. I'm Rachel Livingston, and I'm a physiotherapist.
I served a multi-skilled apprenticeship with Lever Brothers Limited up in Warrington in the northwest, and that was a multidisciplined programme which really gave me a broad range of experience and skills with which I've progressed my career since. Hi, I'm Tony Yates. I'm Head of Engineering at Gatwick Airport, and I'm responsible for all the engineering activities and facilities on campus here at Gatwick. Today I was back to the floor with Ollie, working in the boiler house in South Terminal. One of the biggest complaints we get across Gatwick is people being either too hot or too cold, so clearly our boilers play a great part in the passenger journey. Today we did a ball drop test to make sure the tubes were clear on number 1 boiler, and we also tested the pressure safety relief valves, which are a key safety protection device on our boilers.
Hi, I'm Ollie Turner. I'm a second year engineering apprentice here at Gatwick Airport. My role is to assist with the day-to-day maintenance tasks. So I've always been interested in engineering ever since I was a child. I used to take things apart. My granddad would call me Demolition Man. My father's a fabricator. He used to be a cabinet maker, so I've learnt lots of skills from working with him on projects, and that's just really motivated me to come and work here at Gatwick in the engineering department. I think an apprenticeship's great because it gives you that guided learning experience and the practical skills you need to thrive within the work environment, and it's a great opportunity to earn while you learn.
I would really encourage anybody, any young people, to apply for an apprenticeship at Gatwick. We've got a broad range of disciplines across the campus. It really is almost like a small town, Gatwick, and many people have had very long and successful careers here. Building a strong team is key. Anything's possible with good people, and what's really important is to invest your time. That's critical, so invest your time in your people. I'm proud that I've started as an apprentice, and it shows what can be achieved with determination and with passion, and it shows that the sky really is the limit if you can go from being an apprentice to the head of engineering.
I think the key ingredient for us in Star Care is about individuals, really being passionate about care and that they really want to make a difference to individuals' lives. In terms of, obviously, their, interview process, we appreciate it's daunting at the moment, but we do give them, a lot of support and encouragement, during the interview process.
Not quite as daunting as a live interview on Jobs Live, though, I'm sure.
This is very daunting.
Can I just ask on a personal note, for yourself, where does your journey start? What got you into care in the first place?
I actually started in McDonald's, believe it or not, many, many years ago. And I was doing a degree at the time. And I think was definitely the platform of how I, moved into HR. I suppose I fell into HR really.
Hello everyone and welcome to today's National Apprenticeship Week and we have Aaron from DRP Group. So hi Aaron, how are you?
Hi, I'm all good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm very good, thank you. So could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what you do?
Yeah, okay. So I'm Aaron and currently work for a company called DRP Group in the West Midlands. I'm 20 and I'm doing the level 3 events assistant kind of apprenticeship, which kind of works with project management and just live events, really.
Perfect, sounds great. So what was the route that you took after completing school and why did you choose that route?
It's a bit of a funny one. I actually studied sports at college for 3 years, thinking that, I was going to go and just do something down the lines of that and, kind of go to university. But I think as I got through college a bit more, I realised that probably wasn't necessarily the line for me. And I wanted to start looking into the more, live events or just that sort of route. And then just came across the RP group apprenticeship for events.
Just stumbled upon it, usually happens.
Literally just stumbled.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So you said that you wanted to do, or you went on to do sports in college. So what exactly was it that you wanted to do within sports originally? And what kind of made it not fit what you wanted to do in the future?
I think, I wanted to go into sports psychology. Or potentially kind of sports physio, so something along the lines of that. But I don't really know what it was, to be honest with you. I just think, I did 3 years at college, and I think I then came to the realization maybe in the middle of my third year, and I was like, well, maybe after 3 years, I want to just try something a bit different. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know, just where can I go from here? To be honest with you. And then, I think I knew that I had passions or kind of some interests in different fields. So it was just what was I going to take, what path was I going to take, and where am I going to end up?
Perfect, absolutely. So when you went on to do an apprenticeship, how did you, at the start of it, how did you balance work and study? And does that still work for you now?
I think from when I started, I knew, I'd never had a full-time job or anything before. It was just kind of part-time jobs. But I think when I first started work, I was sure that I wanted to kind of keep my work life and my social life separate. So I think from the start, I was very conscious of having two separate lives, if you know what I mean. And I think when I first started working as well, I made it kind of quite clear that I wanted to ideally have some study time within working hours. So, so I could reach out to people and, talk to people that have obviously been in the business for quite a while, so they could potentially help me with my course a bit. Yeah.
Absolutely. So when it came to your apprenticeship, what do you see as the benefits of doing an apprenticeship? I know you mentioned about obviously colleagues that you work with, they kind of help you along. But is there any other benefits for you?
Well, there's the obvious that a lot of people would think of, you're earning money while you're learning as well, which is the biggest benefit for me, really. Do you know what I mean? I'm learning a new skill, I'm getting qualifications, and I'm earning a decent wage at the same time. And I think for me, I'm not the most academic person, so I can't necessarily go and sit in a classroom for so many hours a week and just listen to people during lectures and that. I think the idea that I'm getting hands-on experience and that I'm trying new things every day and new experiences with work is the huge benefit for me personally.
Perfect. So that's great. So would you say that there's been a most memorable experience of your apprenticeship, and what would that be?
The first live event that I did in Reading, just before kind of coronavirus came upon us, so it was last February time. We were working for a client, and it got to the evening do sort of thing, and the clients were going from the hotel to the restaurant or whatever, and it was me and one of my kind of other apprentice colleagues on the job at the same time, and the client had asked if we could just wear high-vis jackets and just stand on the path and guide people through from each building. And I think we spent about 4 hours potentially in the cold in the middle of February in high-vis jackets just waving drunk people through.
Oh, I bet that was a fun experience, but definitely memorable.
It was a weird one. Yeah, it was a weird one.
Brilliant, that's great. So after everything that you've learned through your apprenticeship so far, what kind of ambitions do you have for your career in the future? Is there anything that you've found through your apprenticeship that you've gone, yes, I want to do that?
Yeah, I think even with DRP and the business that we work for, there's a lot of different departments that kind of come together to make an event. So I think for me personally, I'd like to look at the different areas of an event and kind of, and how they all work together. So, maybe move around the business a little bit and just try things out. But, using my event knowledge and kind of keeping that close to me and just seeing where it will take me.
Absolutely, that sounds perfect. So just final question, unfortunately, but what would you say would be a piece of advice that you wish you'd had when you started that you'd like to share with everyone watching today?
That's a good one. You've got to stick with it, because I know a lot of people, and like for me, for instance, like I got maybe 6 months in and I was like, oh, this is dragging a little bit. Is this the right thing I should be doing? Blah, blah, blah. And, and I'm within a couple of months of finishing my apprenticeship now. And it's like, yeah, it was the right thing to do, to stick with it and to just carry on learning and just growing as a person and as a valued member of the team.
Brilliant. That's a fantastic piece of advice, just to stick with it and see what you can get. Because a lot of the apprentices that I've been speaking to today, they've all been saying that they get to have a try at everything. So it's definitely worth it, isn't it, to stick through?
I think so, yeah. I think the thing with being an apprentice as well, people are very forgiving, but they're very aware that you might want to try other things. So kind of take that opportunity while you can to just try other things while you're in that position. Definitely.
Perfect. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Aaron. It's been lovely to meet you. If anyone wants to ask any questions to anyone from the DRP group, then please drop them in the live chat area and someone from the team or Aaron will get back to you as soon as possible. But for now, thank you, Aaron, and we'll speak to you soon.
Lovely. Thank you for having me. Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Hi, I am Sophia Noor. I work at Boyd UK and I work as an assistant site manager. I've always been fascinated by buildings, the idea of putting something together from start to finish. And when I was really young, I wasn't aware of what a civil engineer actually is. So I went in and I did a little bit of research. I then pursued my degree in civil engineering and I did a master's in structural engineering. And when I finished, I then decided that I wanted to be in the forefront of building and actually be within the construction rather than design element. So that's when I decided to be a site manager, which I've been doing for 3 years now. The best advice I can try and give is apply for all the ones you see and you like and just give it a go. Ensure you write down why you believe you're the best for the position and know your stuff about the companies you're applying for. So do your research and let it show how much you really want it. I have a few women who I've really looked up to, Fabi and Viola, who's an absolute inspiration to me. She also started off just like I did as a graduate site manager, and now she is the chairwoman of one of the biggest construction companies in the world. It's been an interesting ride. The most challenging thing for me was being questioned and being overlooked constantly. Many people don't believe I belong where I am, and all the hard work a woman puts into being here is really overlooked. People stare at me on site, they wonder why I'm there. It doesn't help that I'm 5'2" and young, so I don't fit the typical description of what a site manager is. However, I learned that if you do your job well and you earn the respect of your colleagues, it isn't all that bad. I had to adapt this attitude from university as I was part of like 10% of females in the class. And I've actually had students tell me that I shouldn't be there and I was silly to think that I could be an engineer. It can be really draining to have to constantly validate your position purely because a lot of people like you are not doing the job that you want to do. Don't let anything stop you, because in anything you'll learn and you'll grow to understand everything, because that's what everyone else is doing. They're just learning as they go. No one comes into the industry knowing exactly what to do, and it's all a learning experience.
Currently, we receive about 750 to 800 applications per year for the course, and we have about 50 places in offer. So advice to prospective students is obviously we've got to gain the academic requirements for the course, but also we do look at things like communication skills, interpersonal skills, and also insight into the profession. So having work experience in a care environment, preferably some sort of physiotherapy experience, would be really, really helpful.
The advice I'd give to a student coming to Brighton would be to participate in as much work experience in physiotherapy as you can before you come, to give you a real idea of what physiotherapy involves. It also means that you then truly understand all of the demands which are placed on physios.
We're quite small, meaning we can all work really closely together. There's lots of practical-based things, which is really nice, and everyone's in the same situation as I am, so we're all working for the same goal.
The first year is very much looking at sort of the foundations, skills and knowledge for a physiotherapist, and then we start to look at some of the common conditions that physiotherapists might come across in practice.
It was a bit of an eye-opener, not really understanding what I was going to go in for, and coming out a completely different person with a much broader view on life, and working within the NHS was a fantastic opportunity, so I've really enjoyed all my time with the course.
I enjoy the most about the course the varied nature of all of the different practical skills that we learn. So even though it goes under the umbrella term of physiotherapy skills, we have many different varied modules with many different skills within that scope.
In the second year, then, that really looks at the core areas of physiotherapy. So there are three core areas: musculoskeletal, neurological physiotherapy, and cardiorespiratory physiotherapy. And that builds upon some of the skills and experience and knowledge that they will need when they go out on placement at the end of year 2.
The best thing for me would have been the placement opportunities they gave you, and also having lecturers that have also written books on physiotherapy.
I love the practical-based learning, especially within the anatomy and exercise modules. We really get hands-on, using all different types of equipment and techniques that I haven't used before in the past, which is really exciting.
The philosophy of this course is that students actually are in the university for 18 months. So the idea is that they do have the core knowledge and skills to enable them to treat anything or that they see as they go into clinical placement. So they can be very holistic in their approach and problem solving in their approach. So for example, if they're on an orthopaedic ward and they see someone after surgery, that if that person had something like a chest infection or they may have had a previous stroke, then the students would actually be able to manage that.
And we're very much supported locally by our managers of our local trusts in feeling that that is the right way to approach the training.
So say if you study something on your own, that you have a chance to actually practice inside the classroom under the supervision of the tutors, and then you go into the placement and you get to actually apply that skill in an actual practical setting. I think that's the best thing about it.
Our placement provision, we cover quite a big geographical area. So we cover Surrey, Sussex and Kent. The really positive thing for our students is that they get to see such a huge diversity of size of trusts, as well as we do get to see a lot of cultural diversity across those 3 counties as well. So students do 1,000 clinical hours in total, and how that's divided up over our 2 programmes is that they do 5 6-week placements.
You're actually given a very gradual knowledge base in year 1, and that's when you build up your foundation, and you move on to year 2 where you do a lot more practical work and application of all the things that you learn from year 1. And then in 3rd year you actually do placement, which we are preparing for in year 2 right now.
In the 3rd years, the students then complete their 4 final 6-week placements. They also have a research module, and part of that they work as a group and they produce a literature review and also a group research proposal. As a final module, they have a professional module which then prepares them for applying for their work in the future and building up something called their continuing professional development portfolio, which again will help them in the workplace.
You get to help people who were previously injured. You get to rehabilitate people. You get to see them kind of going from changes from not being able to do something, to being doing something small. Although small, it makes a massive difference in their life. So that's one of the best things.
Our students here gain a variety of experiences when they go out on placement. So we're very much focused on getting them acute experience, community experience, intermediate care. But not only do we focus on the NHS, but we also do look at the private and voluntary sectors. They also get experience, say, in the schooling sectors and also in sport. We pride ourselves on visiting every student on every placement, and we do this because not only do we want to support our students out on placement, but we also want to maintain our links and support of our practice educators. Their role is really important in developing, successful physiotherapists at the end of their courses.
If you're thinking of studying physiotherapy, definitely have a visit to the campus and meet the tutors and talk to them and see what it's like. And then as soon as you come here, you know that if it is the right place for you, that you'll figure that out. It's the right place that you're going to study for.
Prior to coming, try to do some form of preparation if you can, just to help you along once you get here, because it is an intense course and there's lots of things to learn. So if you can help with things like anatomy prior to coming, so if you can start looking into your anatomy, then when you come, you're going to have a little bit of a head start and you'll already understand some of it, so there'll be a little bit less to take on all at once.
Enjoy it as much as you can, and you'll make lots of wonderful friends and you'll have a great time.
The best thing about the University of Brighton is the teaching staff. We have quite a close relationship with them, and they're always there to give advice and speak to help develop your skills.
Most of the staff are very research active, and that actually informs our teaching.
So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's National Apprenticeship Week, and we have got George from Cavendish Nuclear. So, George, if you could just introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm George Garner. I'm a project management apprentice with Cavendish Nuclear, and I've been with the company for about 3 years now.
That's great. So, what route did you take after completing school, and why did you decide to go down that route?
So my route was a bit different to most. I left traditional school at 14. So your normal high schools, I went to a studio school at the age of 14 where I studied engineering at level 2. So really, I always knew that I had a passion for engineering and I wanted to go into an engineering industry. It was just what role I'd fit into.
Perfect, that's great. So did you want to do that from school, or was there something else that you were thinking about doing before you found that school?
So really, when I was maybe 12 or 13, I wanted to be an accountant. But when I was 14, in January 2014, a leaflet came through the door for the new studio school, and it had an option of business, IT and engineering. And really I thought, okay, I've got a bit of a passion for engineering. I like fixing things, I like fixing cars. So I really found my passion for engineering through sort of hobbies, went to the school, and then from going to the school and college later on, I found a passion for project management, which is why I've ended up in the role that I am today.
That's great. It's funny how that things can link up and give you different opportunities that you wouldn't have thought about before.
Exactly, yeah.
So when it comes to doing your degree work and also obviously doing normal work, how do you balance work and study? Is there a particular method that people need to know about, or is it just kind of go for it?
I think it's a difficult one. You've got to be very disciplined in your approach. So there's a target that's for every apprentice across the country and further, regardless of what sort of job you sit in, to do 20% off the job each week. So you need to be disciplined and make sure that your team are aware that you've got to hit that target.
Absolutely. So it's all about that teamwork and making sure everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. So what would you say are the benefits of doing an apprenticeship?
So from my perspective, the benefits of an apprenticeship, it's given me the opportunity to learn key skills needed to be successful in the workplace at an earlier age than more traditional routes would give you, like going to university. It's also exposed me to a workplace environment that you get maybe from a part-time job, but you wouldn't get until you go to your full-time job following the completion of your degree. And I've been able to build networks that's helped me broaden my horizons and really have that network of people there in case I struggle on something, and I can speak to them at some point through the work that I'm doing.
Perfect. So that, I would say, is definitely a benefit. So then even if you need something further down the line, then you've still got those contacts that would probably help you out.
Yeah, exactly. It's those relationships and the rapport with people that you build up.
Perfect. That's great. So what would you say so far has been the most memorable experience of your apprenticeship?
So there are many memorable experiences through my apprenticeship, but Cavendish have given us the opportunity, and we're very fortunate to have the opportunity to do an apprentice development module, which is putting a face to a name for the apprentices across the country, and meeting that community of people that are the same age as you, are in the same position as you. So really do a lot of team building through that, and you have a lot of coaching and mentoring in terms of how to develop at an early stage in your career and be the best person you can be and bring your full self to work. So really taking part in those modules has been the most memorable experience for me so far.
That's brilliant. So obviously we've taken those things that you've learned in those modules and plus also those contacts that you've made through doing your apprenticeship. What would you say are your ambitions following all that for your career in the future?
So I'd like to go on to higher education. So I'm currently at a level 4, which is traditionally like a foundation degree. So I'd like to go on to a degree through what I'm doing. I'd like to be able to carry an impact through STEM. So I've got a massive passion for STEM through the stuff that I've done and the career route I've taken so far. I'd also like to move up the career ladder. So I was always told to have a 5-year plan. That's never the case. Your career's not parallel. You go in every direction. You can change your role, and next week I could decide that I want to be in a different role from an experience I have. So really, I'd like to help drive people's development, my own development, and help the development of the business through whatever role that I end up in.
Perfect. That sounds amazing, and it sounds like that it's something that you're really passionate about as well, which is always good.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. And then if you have a look back at when you were first starting to go for apprenticeships, is there any particular advice that you wish that you'd have received that you could give to anyone watching today?
I'd really say that an apprenticeship has developed me from both personal and professional perspective. So don't just think of an apprenticeship as work. Think of it as somewhere where you can develop personally as well as developing through your career path. And there isn't anything, there isn't a such thing as a silly question. So don't be afraid to ask those questions that you may think are silly, where actually people are looking at you saying, right, this person wants to learn. And really, one of the things that was said to me was, is there anything better than learning and earning at the same time? So would you like to do an apprenticeship and learn and earn, and instead of going through the most traditional route and then having a part-time job at the same time?
Perfect. That's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for that piece of advice, and just thank you so much for your time today. Unfortunately, that was the final question. If anyone would like to follow up on this conversation with George or anyone from the Cavendish Nuclear team, then please just drop a message in the live chat facility and someone will get back to you as soon as possible. But for now, it's bye from us with George. But it was lovely speaking to you, and we'll speak again soon. So see you later.
To be honest, the service as a whole is so diverse. I think it's all about bringing a personality. You can have all the hard skills. We can even, we will teach you the hard skills. It's bringing something to the party. Do you know what I mean? Just come forward and be yourself. Be a little bit outgoing. Be a little bit confident. Just show that you can lead. Show that you're not afraid to be put in a situation that you wouldn't normally react well to, but you can. Like I said, we are such a diverse force in general. We have so many people, and all the different parts that people bring in make us the great organisation that we are. We can't, if everybody was the same, we'd have a very, very boring, workplace.
Yeah.
Hi there, my name is Ailey and I am a senior respiratory physiotherapist. I'm currently working on an intensive care unit.
What did your training consist of to get to this role?
So I left school up in Scotland and then went straight to university at the Robert Gordon University in Aberdeen. And in Scotland, for the Bachelor of Science degree, you need to become a physio. We do 4 years, whereas in England it's 3. So I completed my 4 years at uni, and in doing that, we've obviously got a mix of like lectures, practicals, and then we also do 1,000 hours of clinical placement in the physio work environment. And then after that, I graduated from uni and got a job down here in Surrey, where I worked as a junior therapist for 18 months, kind of rotating around varied different departments, and then decided I wanted to specialise in respiratory physio about 18 months ago now.
What attracted you to this role?
So growing up, I was quite involved in athletics, and I was always going to and from the physio with sports injuries. So I think I just generally really enjoyed science at school, and I was really interested in the human body, and just kind of went into physio from there. I was convinced I was going to be the physio for the Scotland rugby team, but obviously took a bit of a different path. So yeah.
What did you study at university?
So I studied a Bachelor of Science with honours in physiotherapy. But if you do a different kind of related degree, so whether it's like sports science or sports injury rehab or any kind of like biology degree, you can go and do a 2-year master's in physiotherapy to become a physio as well.
So, what qualifications are needed for your role?
So to get into university, I needed to have 2 A's and 2B's at Scottish higher level, which is the equivalent to English A level. And I think that's much the same, whether it varies between universities, whether it's 2 A's and a B or 2B's and an A. So it's always just worth checking that out. But then obviously you need to get yourself the 4-year degree to become a physio.
So, what do you think are the most challenging aspects of the role?
Definitely, it's very fast paced sometimes. You've got to think on your feet a lot. Sometimes you'll have a plan for the day and then you can have a really poorly patient and that just has to completely change everything. You definitely communications with patients. So lots of my patients have got artificial airways in, which means they cannot communicate as we normally would. So it's trying to find barriers around that as well in our treatment sessions. And then obviously working the past year on an intensive care unit in the pandemic has been very interesting, but also very enjoyable at the same time.
So, what do you feel are the most important skills for the role?
So definitely having really good communication skills and being quite confident, being able to explain things quite clearly, um, having quite a good imagination as well. Sometimes lots of patients won't do things kind of by the book, and you need to be able to like think on your feet and come up with new ideas for treatment sessions. Obviously, just have a bit of an interesting kind of science in the human body, but just generally being like an approachable, caring person is always useful.
What advice would you give to somebody looking at a career within the AHP?
Definitely go and get experience in all kind of roles. Lots of hospitals do offer kind of work experience days for anyone, whether it's physio, occupational therapy, speech and language therapy. There's lots of resources online you can look up as well from the kind of the governing bodies that look after these qualifications. Even just I used to coach at a gymnastics club before going to uni to do physio. So kind of being involved in like sports clubs, like working with children, maybe working with adults with disabilities, just kind of getting a good breadth of experience working with like the general public is really useful. And also quite a lot of our physiotherapy assistants, they join the hospital at a non-qualified physio level, and then they work their way up to be able to go off to uni, or some places also offer apprenticeships where they can become physios after a period of time as well. So there's loads of different routes into it. It's a really, really worthwhile career. It's so rewarding. Every single day is different. You can never expect what's going to happen every day. And there are just so many areas that you can branch off into. And just in general, yeah, I really like my career, and I would recommend it to anyone to come and give it a go.
Okay, so I'm just setting off from the office to go to my first home visit today, which has been a referral from one of our registered mental health nurses for a gentleman for a functional assessment. So I'm just back to the office after the home visit with the gentleman. There was a lot of focus on low mood, so we discussed different things that he enjoyed doing or used to enjoy doing that he's not able to do anymore, especially since during a memory assessment a lot of our patients are asked to stop driving while under investigation for memory difficulties. So he was really struggling with being able to get out and about and do things. So my plan is to go back next week. We're going to have a think about different ways that he might be able to engage in occupations that he used to and that he used to enjoy, and to try and lift his mood alongside the work that the registered mental health nurse is doing with the consultant and the GP, where they're also looking at medication to help with the gentleman's low mood. So I'm just about to go into my second home visit of the day. This is for a lady who has been referred through particularly around her kitchen skills, cooking, and basically I'm going to go in and do an assessment and see if there's anything we can do to help, and different strategies with her. So a very successful visit. The lady was really engaged, really keen to think about new different strategies to use. Mainly going to be thinking about kind of visual signage to help. So she's often been leaving the gas hob on, and so just putting a sign up to remind her to turn the hob off, and in terms of recipes, just trying to simplify them to make them easier for her to follow. And so I'll be coming back next week to kind of work on those things with her, and then she'll practice them for a couple of weeks with her husband, and then we'll see where we go from there. The new normal, walking around the corridors, making sure I wear a mask. So we're doing a 5 ways to wellbeing challenge now. We're finding road signs around the area to spell dementia. So as part of our team, we always have a wellbeing hour once a month, and we try and do something active or something fun. So today, yeah, we're out on this walk and we're already getting a bit of arm puff. So that's just a bit of an extra day in the life of an OT. So the final bit of the kind of day in the life of the OT is obviously writing up all of the home visits that I've been on today. They go on to a system for us called Rio, where it means that that can be shared amongst all the other professionals. Other professionals can read about what we've done, and it also gives obviously a trace of like a history of what we've been doing, and you can follow the notes through to see what the OT input's been. So I will be writing up all the home visits and doing any referrals on to other places, discussing it with the consultant or the care coordinators back in the office, and that's about it.
My name's Kirsty Ancliffe. I'm 25. So like you said, I'm working at NMCN, and they're actually the biggest water and civil engineering, well, one of the biggest companies in the UK. So I first started the company when I was 19 and did a level 3 business admin apprenticeship. And then I later progressed on to do a higher level apprenticeship in quantity surveying at university.
So what route did you take after you completed school and why? So why did you choose to do a level 3?
So originally I did do my A-levels at sixth form, and I applied for university, but I wasn't sure, like most people, I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. So I did actually get into university and was full on going to start. But in the end, I decided, I was having doubts. I didn't think it was for me. So at the time, I couldn't really find many higher level apprenticeships, and this, with it being business admin, I thought it'd be a good stepping stone into a career. So that's why I chose the level 3 business admin.
Very nice. Sounds like a good step as well, considering where you are now. Perfect.
Yeah.
So when you were at school, what did you want to do? Did you want to follow what you're doing now, or was it something different?
So yeah, like I said, really, I wasn't sure. I think it's really difficult when you're that age. You don't know where you looking so far ahead. You don't know what you want to do. But yeah, I did in my A-levels and GCSEs. I did like business-based subjects and finance, IT, that kind of thing. So I knew I wanted something like an office-based role, working with people in teams and working with numbers and reports. So when that came up, I thought that is a good opportunity for me to get into what potentially is a career.
Perfect, absolutely. So how have you found balancing work and study? Have you perfected it yet, or is this still tweaking as you go along kind of thing?
I think it kind of depends what type of apprenticeship you're doing. See, with the level 3 business admin, it was like a self-study, so it was kind of similar to university really, where my tutor just came in like monthly to set me work over a year. And then they came in to check on progress in terms of studies and work. So that worked quite well because with work being quite flexible, they just say, whenever you've got free time or, pick a day in the week and you can just set that aside and do your tasks really. And then same with when I started my higher degree at university, obviously that's a set day. So just get all my work done on that day, along with going to like the lectures and stuff. And then what comes with, there is times where you need to do studies outside of work, so obviously on the weekends or weeknights. But I found it's at first